a Viking king who once struck fear across Europe, then vanished without a trace. No body, no grave, no final farewell. What really happened to Rurik, the king who founded an entire dynasty? Today, we step into the fog of history to uncover the mystery that has baffled historians for over 1,000 years. Viking King Mystery: The disappearance of King Rurik. In the wild and unforgiving lands of Scandinavia, where the icy winds cut through the barren landscapes, a legend was born, the story of King Rurik, the Viking king who mysteriously vanished from history. The year was 860, and King Rurik, a powerful and respected ruler, rose from humble origins to lead a mighty Viking kingdom. His name was known far and wide, from the shores of Norway to the coasts of what would later become Russia. But what truly happened to him after a mere few years of reign? Why did he suddenly disappear without a trace, leaving nothing behind but unanswered questions? King Rurik's reign was marked by remarkable success. Under his leadership, the Vikings expanded their reach, raiding distant lands and establishing powerful trading routes. Rurik was not just a warrior king. He was a tactician, forging alliances with neighboring tribes and carving out a legacy that seemed destined for greatness. Yet, in the blink of an eye, this legacy vanished. It was as though he had never existed. The disappearance of King Rurik is one of the greatest mysteries in Viking history. Some argue that he was a victim of betrayal, assassinated by those close to him. In a world defined by constant political intrigue and violent power struggles, such a theory seems plausible. But no body, no bloodshed, no written record supports this claim. Was Rurik really the victim of a conspiracy? Another theory suggests that Rurik, disillusioned by the bloodshed and constant war, chose to step away from the throne. Legends claim that he retreated into the unknown, seeking peace far from the clutches of power. Could he have found solace in a hidden sanctuary, far from the turbulent Viking world? These ideas, though intriguing, are largely based on speculation, with no physical evidence to back them up. The Vikings were known to be pragmatic, leaving behind a trail of raids, settlements, and even burial sites. Yet, despite extensive searches and numerous excavations across Scandinavia, no trace of King Rurik's final resting place has ever been discovered. His name, once etched into the annals of Viking history, slowly faded into obscurity. Over time, the mystery surrounding Rurik's disappearance gave birth to countless theories and legends. One such legend tells of a secret island, a hidden paradise where Rurik ruled in silence, beyond the reach of his enemies. This mythical island, said to be rich with treasures, became a subject of intrigue for many explorers, but none have ever found it. As centuries passed, historians and archaeologists began to piece together the puzzle. They uncovered Viking settlements, raiding camps, and even Viking runestones, but there was still no sign of Rurik. Could he have been erased from history entirely, or was he simply lost in the shadows of time? In the early 20th century, a breakthrough came when a team of archaeologists discovered a mysterious stone tablet in a remote corner of Sweden. The stone was inscribed with strange symbols and markings that some believed were a clue to Rurik's whereabouts. The inscription seemed to reference a king of the north, and many believed it was a direct reference to Rurik himself. However, experts remain divided on whether this stone truly holds the key to unlocking the mystery of the Viking king. Despite all efforts to uncover the truth, King Rurik's story remains unsolved. The king's sudden disappearance is a reminder of the limits of historical knowledge and the power of myth in shaping the stories that have lasted for generations. Could there be a simple explanation to this enigma, one hidden from history's view? Many people still wonder whether Rurik truly abandoned his throne, or whether the king's legacy was buried by forces unknown. But one thing is certain: King Rurik's disappearance remains one of the greatest mysteries of the Viking world, a mystery that endures long after the Viking age has passed. Egyptian trading partner mystery. In the bustling marketplaces of ancient Egypt, with their grand pyramids looming in the distance and the Nile River flowing like the lifeblood of the civilization, a secret trading partner thrived, shrouded in mystery. The Egyptians, known for their vast empire and incredible wealth, had trading relationships that spanned beyond the borders of their kingdom. While they had long established trade with regions like Mesopotamia, Nubia, and the Levant, one particular partner remains an enigma: the mysterious foreign kingdom mentioned in Egyptian texts. The first mention of this mysterious trading partner appears in a series of hieroglyphic inscriptions found in the Temple of Karnak, dating back to the reign of Pharaoh Thutmose III, around the 15th century BCE. The inscriptions describe the arrival of a fleet of ships, said to be from a distant land beyond the known world, bearing precious goods such as exotic woods, gold, and rare animals. The texts do not give the name of this foreign kingdom, and no physical evidence of this civilization has ever been uncovered. Scholars have long debated the identity of this elusive trading partner. Some have speculated that the mysterious kingdom was located in the Arabian Peninsula, while others believe it may have been an early civilization along the coast of East Africa or even in the Indian subcontinent. The types of goods exchanged, especially the rare and luxury items, suggest that the Egyptians were trading with a kingdom that had access to resources far beyond their usual trading partners. One theory posits that this foreign kingdom was the fabled land of Punt, a region that was heavily associated with Egypt's golden age of trade. The land of Punt was famous for its wealth in exotic materials such as incense, ivory, and myrrh. Ancient Egyptian texts often describe Punt as a distant, almost mythical land, and some historians believe that Punt was not just a trading partner, but a place of considerable political and cultural influence. However, there is no definitive evidence that the Puntites were the same mysterious trading partner described in the Karnak inscriptions. Adding to the intrigue is the question of why the Egyptians would keep such a prosperous trading relationship secret. Some believe that the Egyptian elite might have wanted to conceal the full extent of their trade networks to maintain their dominance over regional trade routes. Others suggest that the identity of this kingdom was deliberately hidden due to political tensions or rivalries that would have made the details of the relationship dangerous to reveal. The mystery of the Egyptian trading partner has continued to perplex archaeologists and historians, with no conclusive answers to date. What was the name of this powerful civilization? Why did it remain so elusive in the historical records? And where did it vanish to? Theories abound, but the truth remains elusive, buried beneath layers of ancient sands. The search for answers has spurred countless excavations, particularly along Egypt's Red Sea coast, where the ancient Egyptians might have had direct access to this mysterious partner. While some archaeological sites have yielded clues, such as ancient inscriptions and fragments of foreign goods, nothing has yet provided the breakthrough needed to definitively identify this lost civilization. Could it be that the foreign kingdom was simply a figment of the Egyptian imagination, created to embellish the grandeur of their empire? Or was it a real, thriving civilization that for some reason left no lasting footprint in the sands of time? Until more evidence is found, the mystery of the Egyptian trading partner remains one of the greatest unsolved puzzles of ancient history, tantalizing both scholars and treasure hunters alike. For now, we can only speculate on the identity of this forgotten kingdom. Could it have been a lost city, hidden deep in the deserts or the jungles, waiting to be uncovered by a new generation of explorers? Or is it a myth, a tale woven into the rich tapestry of Egypt's storied past, forever lost to the shifting sands of time? The answers lie buried, perhaps never to be fully revealed. But the mystery endures, forever etched in the history of one of the greatest civilizations the world has ever known. Pyramids in Greece. When one hears the word pyramid, the mind almost instinctively travels to the golden sands of Egypt. Yet nestled in the quiet hills of the Peloponnese, Greece, thousands of kilometers from the Nile, stand ancient stone structures that eerily resemble pyramids. The most famous among them is the Pyramid of Hellinikon, located near the village of Argolis. Though far less grand in scale than its Egyptian counterparts, its presence poses an extraordinary question. Were the Greeks building pyramids too? The existence of these structures was largely ignored by mainstream history until the 20th century, when archaeologists began to study the Hellinikon pyramid in more detail. It is made from limestone blocks carefully cut and fitted, with a rectangular floor plan and walls that incline inward, a clear attempt at a pyramidal form. But what was it built for? Some scholars suggest the structure was a tomb, while others believe it served a military purpose, perhaps as a watchtower or garrison. Local legends, however, speak of something more mysterious, a center of energy, or even a pre-Dorian ritual site with links to lost civilizations. These stories, passed down through generations, hint at an ancient tradition far older than classical Greece. But the most captivating aspect of the Hellinikon pyramid isn't its structure or legends, it's its age. In 1991, a controversial scientific study using thermoluminescence dating suggested that the pyramid could be over 5,000 years old, possibly older than the pyramids of Giza. If this dating is accurate, it would upend everything we know about early European civilization. However, these results remain disputed. Other studies claim the construction is from the 4th century BCE, aligning more comfortably with established timelines of Greek history. Why the disparity? The answer might lie in the difficulty of dating stone structures, especially when later cultures may have reused or modified them. Additionally, many Greek pyramids, including Hellenican, are poorly preserved and have received far less academic attention than Egypt's monuments. There are at least a dozen other pyramid-like structures across Greece, each with varying levels of decay and mystery. Some are mere outlines of stone, while others retain partial walls. Interestingly, they tend to be located near ancient trade routes or military choke points, suggesting strategic importance. But what if their function was more symbolic? One speculative theory draws a connection between the Greek pyramids and prehistoric Mediterranean cultures, suggesting that long before Hellenic Greece, there existed a megalithic tradition that spanned across Europe and North Africa. From Malta's stone temples to Sardinia's Nureg and Egypt's pyramids, perhaps these were not isolated inventions, but remnants of a once unified architectural language now lost to time. Could the pyramids in Greece be a surviving echo of that forgotten era? Adding to the intrigue is the peculiar alignment of some Greek pyramids. Like the Egyptian ones, a few appear to be aligned with astronomical bodies or cardinal points. While this could be coincidence, it raises the question of whether ancient Greek builders had access to advanced knowledge of the stars, or if they inherited this from even earlier civilizations. Modern Greek authorities have largely downplayed these structures, classifying them as minor archaeological curiosities. Unlike the great temples of Athens or the palaces of Knossos, these pyramids remain unexplored by mainstream tourism and under-researched in academia. And yet, for those who visit them, the sense of ancient purpose is undeniable. Some even claim to feel a strange energy near these sites, though that claim remains in the realm of folklore. So, are the Greek pyramids proof of a forgotten epoch of European pyramid building? A lost civilization that predates classical Greece? Or are they simply functional buildings whose shape coincidentally resembles that of Egyptian monuments? As with many great historical mysteries, the answer may lie not just in the stones, but in the questions they continue to inspire. Until more thorough excavations are done and more open-minded investigations undertaken, the Greek pyramids will remain one of history's strangest unsolved riddles, silent sentinels of an age we no longer understand. Undeciphered language mystery. Buried in the sands of history are symbols, texts, and scripts that no one has ever been able to fully understand. They sit in museums, etched into ancient tablets, pottery shards, and crumbling monuments, silent witnesses to civilizations long gone. These are not forgotten dialects or rare variants of known languages. They are undeciphered languages, systems of communication so alien to our understanding that even the most brilliant minds in linguistics and archaeology have failed to crack them. But who wrote them? What do they say? And why, after centuries, do they remain unbroken? Among the most famous is the Linear A script from ancient Crete. Dating back to the Minoan civilization around 1800 BCE, Linear A was written on clay tablets, vessels, and palace walls. It clearly represents a sophisticated system, perhaps used for administrative or religious purposes. Yet, despite its relation to the later deciphered Linear B, used for Mycenaean Greek, Linear A has stubbornly refused to yield its secrets. Many believe that it encodes a lost pre-Greek language, now extinct, with no known descendants to compare it to. Then there is the Rongo-Rongo script of Easter Island, a series of glyphs carved into wooden tablets by the Rapa Nui people. When European explorers arrived in the 18th century, they brought diseases and cultural disruption that led to the near extinction of the island's oral traditions. Today, the tablets remain, but no one knows how to read them. Are they a proto-writing system, ritual recitations, or something else entirely? Even more mysterious is the Vinca script, found in Neolithic Europe, predating Mesopotamian cuneiform by several centuries. These symbols were carved into pottery and figurines, mostly in present-day Serbia and Romania. Some scholars argue they are the earliest form of writing. Others suggest they are purely symbolic decorations. But what if they were both, a hybrid between art and early expression? Another enigma is the Indus Valley script, found in one of the world's oldest urban civilizations. Despite thousands of inscriptions found in present-day India and Pakistan, no bilingual text, like the Rosetta Stone for Egyptian, has ever been discovered. Some of the symbols are repeated often, suggesting grammar-like rules. Yet debates rage on. Is it truly a language, or just proto-writing? And then, of course, there's the Phaistos disc, a fired clay disc unearthed in Crete in 1908, featuring 241 symbols arranged in a spiral pattern. Each symbol is unique, unlike any other Minoan writing system. Many theories have been proposed that it's a hymn, a game board, or even an alien artifact, but nothing definitive has emerged. With no second disc or similar inscriptions ever found, the Phaistos disc remains a one-of-a-kind puzzle. The challenges in deciphering these scripts are immense. Linguists require a corpus, a substantial number of examples of the language in use, to analyze patterns and rules. Without this, even identifying individual words or grammar is nearly impossible. The lack of bilingual texts, spoken descendants, and cultural context makes the job even harder. It's like trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle without the picture and with half the pieces missing. But these undeciphered languages also present an alluring mystery. They remind us that history is not fully known. Somewhere, in the libraries of ruins or buried beneath modern cities, may lie the keys to unlocking these scripts. Perhaps a single stone, tablet, or codex is all it takes, something akin to a second Rosetta Stone, to suddenly make sense of what has remained silent for millennia. What would we learn if we could read these lost languages? Hidden religious beliefs? Economic transactions? Personal letters? Entire mythologies forgotten to time? The potential is vast. Until then, they remain shadows of human thought, glimpses into the minds of our ancestors, waiting patiently for someone to listen again. Viking warrior mystery. The world of Vikings is filled with fierce warriors, epic raids, and sagas that have shaped the history of the North. But some stories are lost in time, buried beneath the shifting sands of history, waiting to be uncovered. One such tale is that of a mysterious Viking warrior discovered in the heart of Sweden, near the ancient trading hub of Birka. Birka was known as one of the most important Viking cities, a place where merchants, warriors, and nobles alike converged. But this particular discovery in 1889 didn't make headlines right away. In 1889, archaeologists uncovered a grave in the Birka Viking cemetery, thought to be the burial site of a high-ranking Viking warrior. The grave contained everything a warrior would need for battle: a sword, axe, shield, and even 2 horses, signaling that the person buried was an individual of high military rank. The arrangement of the grave, paired with the burial goods, suggested the warrior was not only respected but also a leader. For decades, the identity of this warrior was unquestioned. It was assumed that the grave belonged to a prominent male Viking, perhaps a nobleman or a well-respected military commander. But as science advanced, the contents of the grave would offer up an unexpected surprise. In 2017, a team of researchers re-examined the remains using DNA analysis and discovered that the warrior buried in Birka was female. This revelation turned the Viking world upside down, forcing archaeologists and historians to reassess everything they knew about Viking society and their roles for women. The warrior had been laid to rest with the same weaponry and markers that would be typical of a male Viking leader, challenging the historical narrative that Viking warriors were strictly men. Why had this warrior been buried in such a manner? The warrior's grave suggested a warrior of great importance, someone who may have led troops into battle and wielded authority over Viking settlements. Some historians theorize that she may have been a shield maiden, a legendary figure mentioned in sagas, thought to be a warrior who fought alongside men on the battlefield. But for a long time, shield maidens were often dismissed as myth or poetic exaggerations. Now, with this discovery, evidence emerged that women did, in fact, play a significant role in Viking warfare, even holding positions of command. The warrior's grave contained not only weapons but also chess pieces, which suggests the warrior might have been strategic in nature, someone who not only fought but also had the intellect to plan military campaigns. These chess pieces, artifacts used in ancient games of strategy, further support the theory that the warrior could have been involved in leading or advising during battle, potentially even overseeing Viking trade routes or expeditions. Who was this enigmatic Viking warrior? Unfortunately, her name remains lost to history. Though the physical evidence suggests she was a high-ranking warrior, with a burial fit for a king, there is no accompanying historical documentation or sagas that reference her life. Her story was buried along with her grave, forgotten over time, with no mentions of her in any Viking lore or sagas that have survived. Interestingly, some researchers speculate that her story might have been deliberately erased by later generations of Viking chroniclers, who may have been reluctant to portray women in such powerful roles. The societal norms of the time often relegated women to domestic or religious duties, and it's possible that the true extent of women's participation in Viking military affairs was intentionally downplayed or erased. Over time, this mystery has only deepened. As archaeologists continue to search for similar burial sites, and as new tools and techniques emerge, it's possible that more women warriors will be unearthed. Hidden figures who defied the traditional gender roles and made significant contributions to Viking society. The discovery of the Burka warrior raises the intriguing possibility that history might have overlooked many such women, whose roles were as critical as any man's. The search for more evidence of shield maidens and powerful female warriors is ongoing. Could it be that the Viking Age was far more egalitarian than we ever imagined? Could these women have fought not just alongside men, but alongside kings and chieftains, leading their own armies into battle? The unanswered questions about the Burka warrior raise important questions about gender roles, power, and the way history is written. The warrior's grave at Burka serves as a testament to the complex and often mysterious nature of the Viking world. Though her name and identity remain lost, the story of the Burka warrior opens a window into a past where the lines between myth and reality blur, and where women's roles in history are finally being recognized. So, what do you think? Was she a lone outlier, or the tip of a forgotten army? Could history have buried more than just bones? Could it have buried truth? If this story made you question what you thought you knew about the Vikings, go ahead and hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe for more mysterious, under-the-radar stories from history. Got your own theory about the Burka warrior? Drop it in the comments below. I read every one. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and stay chill.